moved into that apartment because it was quiet, cheap, and close to my job. My neighbors mostly kept to themselves, and nothing about the place seemed strange when I first arrived. I work long hours, and I just wanted somewhere I could come home and relax. For the first month, nothing strange happened, but then small things started to feel off. Not dramatic things, little details that made me question my memory. I'd come home and notice my kitchen chair pulled out from the table, or a cabinet door left halfway open. I blamed myself at first. Maybe I forgot. Maybe I was tired. But it kept happening. One night, I walked in and found the picture frame on my hallway table flipped face down. I know for a fact I didn't leave it that way. I stood there for a long minute, staring at it, trying to think of a reason it would be flipped like that. There was no draft, no open window, nothing that could have made it move. I called maintenance the next morning. They checked the locks, checked the door frame, even checked for signs of tampering. Everything looked normal. My front door lock had no scratches or marks. The deadbolt was fine. They told me the master key hadn't been used on my unit at all. I wanted to believe them, but I had this feeling, that tight, uneasy feeling you get when you sense someone's been in your space. A few days later, I started taking pictures of the apartment before leaving for work. Just simple things, where the chairs were, how the curtains hung, the position of the small rug by the couch. When I came home that night, I checked the photos and then looked at the apartment. The bathroom door was open. In the picture, it was shut. I knew I didn't leave it open. I always closed it because the fan inside made the whole room feel colder. I walked inside slowly, turning the light on, checking every corner. Nothing, no signs of forced entry. Still, someone had opened it. I reported it again. They checked everything again. And again, they told me no master key was used. They even showed me the log. My apartment wasn't touched. I thought maybe I was losing it. Maybe I was overreacting. But then it got worse. It started with noises. Light footsteps above my ceiling, even though the apartment upstairs was empty. Soft tapping on my bedroom wall. The creak of my hallway floorboards at night, like someone was walking slow, careful steps. I would lie in bed, frozen, staring at the dark doorway. My eyes would adjust slowly, and I'd see nothing there. But I could feel something, like the air in the hallway was heavier than the rest of the apartment. Then things began to move while I was home. I was watching TV one night when the lamp beside the couch flickered. That wasn't strange on its own, but then the lampshade slowly turned. Not fast, not sudden, just a slow, steady turn, like someone pushed it with one finger and kept applying pressure. I stared at it, waiting for it to stop. It kept turning until it pointed toward me. I unplugged the lamp immediately and left it like that. Another time, I walked into the kitchen and saw every cabinet open, wide open, like someone had gone through them all at once. My first reaction wasn't fear, it was confusion. I took a step toward them, thinking maybe the hinges were loose. But before I could close anything, the cabinet above the sink slammed shut on its own. The sound echoed through the apartment. I backed out slowly, grabbed my keys, and left. I didn't come back until the sun came up, but the worst part happened while I was asleep. It was around 3 a.m. when it happened. I know because I checked the clock right afterward. I woke up without knowing why. The room was dark, but everything seemed normal at first. Then I felt a light pressure on my ankle, like someone brushed against it. I thought maybe the blanket had shifted. Then the pressure wrapped around my leg. I froze. The grip tightened. fingers curling around my ankle. It pulled. Not enough to drag me off the bed, but enough that my body jerked downward. I tried to kick, tried to move, but whatever was holding me didn't let go right away. When it finally released, I rolled off the bed and crawled to the corner, shaking and unable to make a sound. I turned on every light. I checked every closet, every corner. Nothing. Just a cold spot by the end of my bed that didn't fade for hours. By that point, I knew something was inside the apartment with me. Not a person, something else. Something that didn't need doors or keys. The last night I spent there was the worst. I was in the living room, putting books into a box, when something shoved the box off the table. Not tipped it, shoved it. Books spilled everywhere. My heart jumped. Before I could react, the curtain rod above the window snapped and fell. Then my kitchen drawer slid open. One by one, objects started moving, like invisible hands were touching everything they could reach. I grabbed my keys and ran to the door. I heard the bedroom door swing shut behind me. A loud slam. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I left that apartment with half my things still inside. I moved out within a week. I never went back for the rest of my stuff. I couldn't. I take my dog out every night around the same time. It started as something small, something I did to clear my head before bed, and it slowly became a routine. My neighborhood is quiet after dark, the kind of place where you can hear your own steps. The park is only a block away, and even though the lights there don't always work, it always felt safe. There's this one bench by the path, right under a crooked lamp that flickers every few seconds. For months, there was always someone sitting there. A man. He sat perfectly still, leaning forward with his hands clasped between his knees. At first, I didn't think anything of it. People sit outside to think. People take late walks just like I do. But after a few weeks, it became strange that he was always there. Same bench, same posture, same time of night. My dog Milo never went near that side of the path. His ears would push back and his tail would drop whenever we got close, like he sensed something I couldn't. One night in early fall, I finally decided to pay more attention. I slowed down as we got closer to the bench. The man didn't move, didn't look at me, didn't shift or stretch or even lift his head. I couldn't make out his face under the flickering lamp, and something about the way he stayed so still made the air feel heavier. I started avoiding the bench after that, not because I was scared, but because something about him felt wrong. Still, every night we passed the park, he was there. Then it changed. One evening, Milo pulled to a stop before we even reached the path. He refused to walk forward. His whole body trembled. He kept staring toward the bench, letting out this soft, low whine, the kind dogs make when they're afraid of something they can't explain. I crouched down to calm him, thinking maybe he heard something in the bushes. But when I looked up at the bench, the man was sitting in a different position, no more leaning forward. He was sitting straight up, head turned in our direction. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could feel him looking at me. I don't know how long we stood there, but eventually, Milo pulled so hard on the leash that I decided to skip the walk and go home. That was the first night I felt something like fear. The next night, the bench was empty. That should have relaxed me, but instead it made everything worse. Milo kept pulling back toward home, stopping every few feet, as if something behind us made him nervous. I kept glancing toward the bench, half expecting that man to appear out of nowhere. And then, about halfway through the park, the lamp above the bench flickered twice and turned off. The whole corner of the path dropped into darkness. We hurried home that night. A few days passed, and I didn't see the man. Part of me hoped he had moved on. Maybe he was just lonely. Maybe he was waiting for someone. Maybe he was harmless. I tried to convince myself of all of that. Then Halloween night came around. I wasn't planning anything special, but at around 10, Milo scratched at the door, begging for his walk. I didn't want to go out. It was colder than usual, and something in my gut felt off. But Milo wouldn't calm down until I grabbed his leash. The park was quiet. Not a single person or kid or car. The lamp above the bench flickered weakly, like it was trying to stay alive. Milo and I walked slowly down the path, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't see anyone sitting there. But as we came closer, Milo suddenly stopped, staring at the bench with his body stiff as stone. The man was sitting there again. But something was different. His head was tilted back, resting against the top of the bench, and his jaw hung open like he was gasping for air. His hands were still clasped between his knees, but everything else was rigid, unnatural. I don't know why I walked closer. Curiosity, fear, something in between. Milo stayed behind me, whining and pacing. "Sir," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Are you okay?" No response. I got close enough to see his face. His skin looked pale, almost grey. His eyes were half open, glassy. His lips were blue. That's when I realized he wasn't breathing. He'd been dead this whole time. My stomach dropped. I stepped back fast, reaching for my phone to call someone, anyone. But before I dialed, a cold gust hit me from behind, sharp enough to make me choke. The man's head snapped forward. Not slowly, not like a body falling. It jerked, like something had forced it down. His chin hit his chest, and his whole body stayed upright, stiff. I froze. He turned his head toward me. Not all the way. Just enough that I could see his empty eyes looking right through me. I backed away, keeping my eyes on him. Milo barked, loud and panicked, pulling on his leash hard enough that I had to move or get dragged. The man stood up. I didn't hear bones or clothes or a normal movement. There was no sound at all. 1 second he was sitting, the next he was standing, facing me, his head still tilted at that strange angle. I ran. Milo bolted ahead of me, dragging me down the path as the lamp above us flickered like crazy. I didn't dare look back, not until we were almost home. Even now, I keep replaying that moment in my head, hoping it makes sense. It never does, because what I saw that night wasn't human.